Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot lead. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. So today I'm going to be showing you how to replace your front brakes on a 98 Nissan Altima. Alright guys, and here's what you'll need for today's project. A 14mm and a 19mm socket, a 3/8 ratchet, a flathead screwdriver, something to take your lug nuts off, 21mm lug nuts, and then a set of calipers to measure your rotors. And then what's also not shown is you'll need some disc brake grease, high temp disc brake grease. Okay guys, and in order to get to your lug nuts, you're just gonna take a flathead screwdriver, kind of wedge it in this little place right here, and that cap just pops right off, and they're 21mm lug nuts. Okay guys, now the first thing you're going to want to do once you got the wheel off is we're going to need to remove these two bolts, your caliper bolts, and they're 14mm. So you're going to take your 14mm socket and just kind of break it loose there, and then remove both of them. And before you remove it all the way, I'm going to take this flathead screwdriver, I'm going to reach in here behind the piston here, and I'm going to grab on the rotor or the old brake pad, and I'm going to just lightly push here, and as you can see, you should be able to see the caliper slowly compressing. And what's happening right now is the piston is slowly compressing, so when we go to put the new pads back in, the piston will be compressed all the way back, and we'll be able to slip this caliper right back on without any trouble. And what I may have to do is put a new pad back in there and then stick the old pad back in there, so it's kind of widen it, and that'll give me more leverage to close it down on there. So I'll do that when I'm going to put everything back together. And as we can see here, it's compressed a little bit, but we need to go back further than that. So basically we're just going to take our pads out here, and they look pretty well gone. This one more so than that one. And this is a good time here to explain something here. As you can see, this one's a little bit thinner. Well, they're actually thinner up at the top. And what can happen, guys, is if you do your brakes and you got your slide pins here, and if you don't lube up your slide pins when you go to put everything back together, you can have this uneven wear, because what can happen is one can get stuck, and you don't want that. So I'll show you what we need to do with your slide pins when we go to put it back together. But that's pretty much all there is to removing the brake pads. Now, if you're going to have your rotor resurfaced, or if you're going to replace your rotor, you're also going to have to remove these two bolts back here as well. And then we'll be able to remove our caliper bracket right here. And then we'll be able to just slide the rotor right off. And then that way you can have it go and have it resurfaced, or you can put on your new rotor, and then we'll put this bracket back on. And the next thing we need to do is we need to check the minimum thickness on this rotor. And I believe for this rotor, the minimum thickness is 0.787 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my measuring tool and make sure it's above 0.787 inches. Okay guys, so I've got my caliper tool right here, which is going to help me to measure the thickness of this rotor. And what you really want, and I still haven't got one yet, but I'm probably my next brake video I'll have it, is you want a set of calipers with teeth on the end so it can bite down over like that. And when you go to your parts tool store, you can ask them about it, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction and show you the tool you need. But it's going to look something like this basically. And what you're going to do is you're going to set it over there like that, and that's how you'll get your measurement. And basically if it's too thin, then the car will then be unsafe to drive if you're to replace the brakes on this and the rotor's too thin. And you cannot tell just by looking at the rotor whether or not it's too thin or it's thick enough to pass the test. So you definitely need to do this. Most people who do their own brakes skip this step because they don't know about it. It's definitely a needed thing to do in order to ensure that you have safe brakes to drive with. So make sure you do that. And if you don't want to go through all the hassle, you could just buy new rotors every time. Or you could buy a new rotor and then once you change your brakes the second time, after that replace it just to be on the safe side. You can't go wrong that way either. But if you're gonna try and get the most out of your rotor, you really need to set these calipers and you need your minimum thickness number. Alright, so next thing, I'll show you me removing this bracket. Okay guys, now these are going to be 19mm bolts, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on this, and you just need to break them both loose here. And let's see, there we go. I'm gonna get them both off, and then we'll remove this bracket right here. And then some of you guys might have bolts still holding the rotor in here, and some of you might have a screw or something like that. I don't see any bolts on this rotor, so mine will just slide right off, and I hope you guys don't have the hassle of taking off terrible rotor bolts, because it can be quite the task. Most of the time they're screws, and that's why a lot of times it's really difficult, because you can't get the same kind of leverage and the same kind of grab on a screw as you can on a bolt. Alright, so this just kind of comes right off. We'll set it off to the side, and as you can see, we can just take the rotor right off. Okay guys, so everything kind of goes back on the same way it came off, and I was looking here on your wheel hub. There's no spot for the bolts or screws, so that's a good thing for you guys. But there are, if you notice, these little two spots here for if it gets rusted on. A lot of times, sometimes the center area will get rusted onto the hub assembly, so it gives you two spots for bolts to kind of screw in to help push the rotor off. So that's good. So I'm just going to show you putting everything back on, just to give you guys the confidence to do this job here. Because I know sometimes if you see it done, it makes it a little bit more comforting if you're scared of doing the job. So let's see, just going to put it back on like we took it off. Go ahead and get this one in. We're going to tighten both of those down, and then I'll show you compressing the caliper piston all the way in. Alright guys, and before we compress that piston all the way back, once you got your bolts here tightened down, I'm just going to show you real quick. We got these slide pins, and what you can do is pull them out just like that, and then you're going to wipe it off here. And let's see, I don't have any grease with me right now. I will before I get the job done, but I just need to, I'm trying to get this video finished up here. So you're going to take you a good rag, wipe your pin off, then you're going to take some disc brake grease. They always try and upsell it at AutoZone when you buy your new brake pads, so you shouldn't have a problem finding that your disc brake grease. You're just going to take some on your finger, just about the size of a I don't know, a quarter of a size of a marble, so just like a little drop, like a little raindrop kind of, and you're just going to dab it along there, and then you'll stick your pin back in there, and then you'll work this seal right around here like that, and there you go, it'll be all re-lubed up there. So then the next thing we'll do is we'll take our new pad and we're gonna stick it back here, and with that disc brake grease, what you're gonna want to do is just dab another like raindrop size, just kind of dab it on there, maybe dab some along there, and then dab some along there, and then we'll stick this new pad in, and like so. And then I'm going to take the old pad over here, so I'm not hurting the new pad, and I'm going to hold it like that, and then I might have to push these guys in here to get this caliper on like that. Then I'm going to take my screwdriver and, well, maybe wedging on the rotor, so it may not matter whether I stick a old pad in there or not. And let's see, that might be as far as she goes. Let's see if the new pad fits in here. That's another one. Remember, also, you see we got the wear indicator over here. You don't want two of the wear indicator pads on the same side, so we'll take this guy, put him here. Remember, again, you're gonna put that grease on there. And then I push the rotor up against it so they'll go flat in there like that. And if this doesn't fit, we'll just have to do some more pushing. And it looks like it fits there. Yeah, so that's as far as it went back. Normally, when I'm doing this, I look to see the piston go flush with the whole assembly here. See, it's kind of sticking out, so that's why I was thinking there that it still had some going to do. So just gonna stick that in there, and then you'll take your caliper bolts wherever they may be, stick them in here, go ahead and get it started. And when you're tightening this up, if this starts to spin on you, you can take a pair of pliers, or there's probably a wrench that'll fit on there, and just hold that while you tighten that caliper bolt on there. And then you just want to snug it up. If you try and over tighten it, sometimes these sometimes the caliper bolts are easy to strip, so just once you snug it in there, snug's good enough. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, and as always, I always forget to say this, and I always say thanks for watching. It drives me crazy. Anyways, make sure you depress the brake pedal all the way down. You're gonna want to re-put the tension in the brake pedal, because if you don't, the first time you go to push the brake pedal down, it's gonna go straight to the floor, because you have the pistons compressed all the way back, and it's gonna make the brake pedal just go all the way to the floor. So if you get done with your brake job and you put it in drive and go, and then you realize you need to stop, you're going to hit whatever in front of you or whatever is behind you, because your brake pedal is going to go straight to the floor and it's not going to apply the brakes. So you need to pump that brake pedal to get the brake pedal tight, and so it will apply your brakes. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Here's what we got after the pistol rounds went through it. I got 6 out of 8, not too bad. So we got one right there, one right there, one right there, one right there, one right there. It looks like something might have hit. I don't know if that was a bullet or not.